And now, to offer a wider spectrum about how Honduras is preparing for the upcoming general elections, we contact our special envoy, Jorge Gestoso. Hello, Jorge. How is the country preparing for this democratic process?
Thank you. We are less than 48 hours away from the electoral election in, we're talking about Honduras, and here in Tegucigalpa we're following with a special coverage every minute of what's going on, and in helping us to put in perspective precisely the few hours left to this process and a process that it has a very peculiar characteristic. We are not having a runoff in this election. It's going to be a direct election. The person who receives the most of the vote is absolutely declared the president of the country. But precisely to put in perspective all the details that I have been living in the last week and in the last hours, we have the privilege to have with us Russel Garay. Russel is master in public policies and also is a member of the electoral campaign of the presidential candidate Ritzy Moncada. Ritzy is the official candidate of the Libre Party, the party of President Xiomara Castro. Russel, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Russel, is there something weird, unusual, unexpected that happened in this final stretch towards the election on Sunday at the level of the electoral campaign?
Yeah, what really sets apart this election between these candidates is that for the first time in history we have an endorsement of a U.S. president for a candidate in Honduras, and the candidate is Nasri Afura. But it's also a surprise even for the opposition in the country, because
the President Trump.
Yeah, because the President Trump is endorsing a candidate who is backed by the National Party, the party of Juan Orlando Hernandez, who is the former president of Honduras, that has been convicted as a drug dealer in the U.S. So it's quite shocking for all the parts in this election, because for the first time we have such an open endorsing and such an open intervention in the country. And the set of comparison that we are looking how the U.S. is trying to go back in history and restoring the National Party that was the third place in the polls, and is something that we have never seen before. And we are quite still in this moment trying to convey an answer for the electorate in the country, because one of the main issues in Honduras is we have a lot of migration. At least 1 million people of Honduras live in the U.S., so we have a lot of discussion about the U.S. policies and how they impact Honduras. So this is once in history election for this reason.
Do you think that the endorsement of President Trump that said you should vote precisely then, you should vote for Tito, Tito Asfura, do you think that is going to help him? We're talking about the candidate, or is going to at the end of the day could hurt him?
I think that it's going to help him in a way, but it's hurting most of all Salvador Narrala, who is the candidate has been trying to obtain an endorsement of the U.S. government. He has traveled to the U.S.
Also from the right.
Yeah, he has traveled to the U.S. at least 10 times, and he has met with Congresswoman Maria Elvira Salazar, for example, multiple times, and still didn't obtain an endorsement. So it's actually really hurting him in the polls. And for the case of the Nasri Afura, the main issue is that we come from a recent history of 12 years of a dictatorship of the National Party, and he is a member of the National Party. He's well known as a prominent member and someone who actually backed Juan Orlando Hernandez. So it's quite hard for him to obtain more votes at this moment, even when the endorsement comes from Donald Trump, because the National Party is way back in the histories, has been pointed out as the most corrupt a political institute in the country. So he's not really like obtaining a lot of a favor in this endorsement, but Salvador Narrala is actually quite hurt for this endorsement.
The campaign that you are working with, we're talking about the Ritzy Moncada campaign, the successor of President Xiomara Castro, Partido Libre, has been expressing concern about the transmission of the votes at the end of the electoral day. Why?
Well, the National Electoral Council is integrated by members of the different parties. So we have two members we have one member of each party, and we have two parties who are aligned to the right, the National Party and the Liberal Party. And we also have the Party Libre, but we are in a minority when it comes to decision making. So they have been exposed because an audio and a call log from these members of the party, of the National Party and the Partido Liberal, has been leaked, and in these audios they are plotting an interference in the transmission system of the electoral vote. So
they call it TREP.
Yeah, they call it TREP. So it's a preliminary result of the election, but they plan to proclaim Salvador Narrala as the president of Honduras.
As a winner.
As a winner. And it's a clear plot that has been exposed, and we are arguing against it. With the general attorney of the country has been quite strong about this issue. He has claimed that these audios are real, and it's a real risk to the democracy of the country. So we are asking our people and the Council of the National Elector to count each ballot and not use this system to proclaim the winner of the election.
According to the polls, the candidate that follows the President Xiomara Castro, we're talking again Ritzy Moncada, she is the winner in the polls. We're talking about the person who has the more acceptance in the polls nationwide. Do you believe that what the polls anticipate is going to materialize? We're talking that by 9 o'clock that could be the first indication that results are coming, or a trend. And then at the end of Sunday, we're going to have a winner. And that winner, for the case of this question, is Ritzy Moncada. The two other candidates of the right are going to accept the result?
I think that the election is going to be quite a struggle for all parts, because in one hand we have the candidate of Libre, Ritzy Moncada, who is leading, who is succeeding the most successful government in history of Honduras. We have reduced poverty in marginal impact for the country. We have consolidated the national entities and the infrastructure of the country. So it's a quite popular government all around the world. It's one of the four presidents has most popularity in the country. And the other hand, we have this National Party and the Liberal Party, who have been part of the coup d'etat in 2009 and the frauds in the election of 2013 and 2017. So we are not sure of what's going to happen in the night of the election, because we are comfortable in our advantage in the polls and we believe that we are going to win. But it's going to be a struggle of how we certificate this election, because the National Council of Election is, we have a minority of party, and we also have the intervention of the US and other countries trying to rig the election. So it's going to be quite a night, and at least we are trying to intermediate with the candidates to let them know that we cannot go back to the fraud of 2017 that led the country to quite social unrest, and people were killed in the streets and defending democracy, and we don't want to go back to that. But as a party, we are being responsible in the way that we struggle with this issue, and we are being transparent about the risk of this election, because we want people to be sure that at this moment the electoral system is going to declare someone else as winner, and we cannot ignore this. So we believe that at the end, when all the ballots are counted and the election is certificated, we will have Rixi Moncada as president, but it's going to take some time.
Thanks very much, Russell.
Thank you for having me.
We're talking with Russel Garay. He is a master in public policies. He was helping us to put in perspective what is going on in the route in this final stretch to Sunday's electoral day in here Honduras, and here in the capital, in Tegucigalpa, where we are starting today that special coverage. So we get back to you now.